Hi everybody, it's Susan from Sunrise Quilt Studio, and today I have another 8-inch block for you. This one is called Millwheel, and I've already put this one in a setting with some of the other quilt blocks, but here it is. This one is made with half square triangles and a square unit there in the center. So this one also has 3 different prints plus the background. And it is fairly easy to do, so it's a good beginner block. So I hope you'll stay with me and I'll show you how to make the Millwheel block. Here are the fabrics you need to make the Millwheel block. For A, you need one 4.5-inch square, B is 4 2.5-inch squares, C is 2 3-inch squares, D is 4 2.5-inch squares, E is 4 2.5-inch squares, F is 4 2.5 by 4.5-inch rectangles, and G is 2 3-inch squares. And you'll be drawing diagonal lines on several of these pieces. You'll do that on the B squares, the D squares, the E squares, and the G squares. Okay, we're going to start out by making half square triangles with the C and the G squares. And there's a diagonal line drawn on the wrong side of the G squares, and we're going to sew 1/4 inch away from both sides of that drawn line. So I'm going to put these right sides together. Okay, I'm going to cut along the drawn line, and I'll have a total of 4 half square triangles. Okay, I'll show you those. So here we go. These need to be trimmed down to 2.5 inches square, and they'll be just slightly larger, but it won't be that by that much. Okay, then the next thing we need to make are the flying geese units. I'm going to use the F rectangles, D squares, and B squares for this. And see, they're all made the same way, but what we want is for the D squares to go on the right side, the B squares to go on the left. So I'm going to start by doing all of the pieces on the right side first. So we're going to put the D square in that right corner, and then sew along the diagonal line from the top center to the bottom right hand corner. Alright, now I need to trim off the right hand corner, leaving a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then I'll press that triangle back. Okay, so there are those pieces. Now I'm going to just sew the B squares onto the left side. Now my B squares are directional. They have this oval here that is obviously an oval, so if I turn it this way or that way, it'll make a difference. So I have to decide how I want that to look. And these, so I'm going to, if I lay them to the side, then they will look like they're facing up. So I want to do that. This goes on the left hand side. I'm going to sew from the top center to the bottom left hand corner. And I'm going to trim and press these triangles back. So here's what those look like. So I have 4 of those. Now we need to make the square and a square unit. So on the E squares, I need to draw a diagonal line on the wrong side, and then I'll sew them onto the A square, a lot like I do the flying geese units. So I'm going to draw these lines and then sew these onto the A square. Okay. So we're going to do opposite corners, and the drawn line is going to go from side to side. I'm going to do one corner, and then I'll sew one onto the opposite corner. Okay. And I'm going to press these triangles back. Okay, so that's what we have after the first step. So now I need to sew the E squares onto the other 2 corners with the diagonal lines going from side to side. Here's the square and a square unit. So now it's time to lay the pieces out. Okay, so we're going to start with the center because I want to orient this piece, and then the flying geese units are going to go on the sides, and these pieces aren't all going to, they're not going to look the same when you look directly at the block, but if you'll notice, they're all going out. They're not necessarily going to be facing the same way as the center. Okay, so for the 4 corners, we use the half square triangles, and the print is going to face in. Just like that. So I'm going to sew everything into rows, and then I'll sew the rows together and the block will be done. I just sew all these pieces together. Now I've got these diagonal seams I'm going to nest together. is I press the seam on the half square triangle towards the background fabric, and so that'll nest together with the flying geese unit. And on the next row I've got points coming together here, and this time I'm going to poke a pin through the top of each of these points to help line them up together. Okay, here's the finished block. So I think that turned out pretty well. So this is the Millwheel block. This one uses 3 different units, half square triangles, flying geese units, and a square unit. Now when I pressed these 2 seams here, I pressed open to kind of alleviate some of the bulk here. I could have done the same thing here, but I didn't. I was just kind of in a hurry, and so I just pressed it to one side. But if I press that open, it would alleviate bulk in these sections right here and right here. So I may go ahead and press those open. So anyway, here is the Millwheel block. Okay, that's it for the Millwheel block. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is a fun block to make. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's beginner friendly and it's interesting, so I hope you'll give this block a try. Now if you like this video, please click the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and click that notification bell so you'll be notified when the next video comes up. And in the meantime, I hope you're all staying safe and healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. For more quilting ideas, click on the video links, and to keep up with my latest projects, click on the subscribe button. I hope to see you again soon.